Those that are attacked by calamities are those who ignore warnings. Welcome to the next episode. And here we're going to Appendix 2. Uh, what is on Appendix 2? Let me see. Yes, I believe so. And on the Torah, Appendix 2 is on the Torah. And you can find this on pages 329 to 332. We go to Appendix 3 on the Injil. Appendix 2 is done. Well, we go to, no, haven't done. We only did Appendix 1. Appendix 3 is on the Injil. It can be found on pages 333 to pages, sorry, on pages 333 to 335. Okay, we are still on contents, and we're going to Surah 6 or chapter 6, and it's an arm. An arm means cattle, the cattle. Introduction and summary, page 336. Then under it we have God reigns. God reigns in heaven and on earth, semicolon. There is a hereafter. Text and notes, chapter 6, signs 1 to 30. You can find this on page 337 to pages 337 to page 345. We go down and we have life of this world is empty. Indeed, life of this world is empty. What is serious is the hereafter, which most of us find difficult to believe. God holds the keys of the unseen. Text and notes, chapter 6, column, signs 31 to 60. You can find this on pages 345 to 355. Then under it we have God's loving care encompasses us all. God's loving care encompasses us. It is the protection. It is his protection we should seek, and not that of anyone else. It is God's protection we should seek, and not the protection of anyone else. Text and notes, chapter 6, signs 61 to 82. You can find this on pages 355 to 363. You don't need the protection of anybody to stay alive, only God. The head of state may have a whole army protecting him, with helicopters flying over his house. Anywhere he goes, armed men and whatnot, the house can be enforced with barbed wires and whatnot. But his sole protector is God, whom he cannot escape. And God is with him, all of them. Also, all of the time. God is with him all of the time. With me all of the time. إنه أقرب من حبل الوريد. God is nearer us than our jugular vein. It's there in the Quran. So somebody inside you, you can protect you can protect yourself against him. You can protect yourself against other human beings, but for God, no. If he wants to strangle you to death, and you are gone, nobody knows. They'll come, oh, what happened to him? No, nothing. Not knowing God with his wicked hand, because of your own deeds, just press, and you are gone. Or he can let you die, choke even to death while eating. So it is his protection we should seek, and not that of anyone else. 661 to 82, 355 to pages 355 to 363. We go next. Revelation in all ages. Semicolon. Quran, a blessing and confirmation. Semicolon. Signs of God in the daily pageants of nature. Pageants is spelled P-E-P-E. Pageants is spelled P-A-G-E-A-N-T-S. Text and notes, chapter 6, signs 83 to 110. This can be found on pages 363 to 375. We go to part 8. under section 6. Part 8. Rebels against God are deceived and deceive each other. Let us trust in God. So God has rebels. Collectively, they are rather deceived. Collectively. Then, individually, they deceive one another. Mm, Okay. Let us trust in God. Then text and notes, chapter 6, Science 111 to 129. You can find this on pages 375 to 381. We now go down and we have degrees in good, degrees, I will say degrees in good and evil deeds. Avoid superstition and excess. So we have, let's say, goods in a spectrum. We have goods that are evil, some more evil than others, and also good too. We have some good more than others. It depends on God who judges. So degrees in good and evil deeds. Avoid superstition and excess. Text and notes, chapter 6, Science 130 to 150. This can be found on pages 381 to 83 to 8 to 389. 381 to 389. We go down, we get Allah's commands are not irrational. God's commands are not irrational taboos. God's commands are not irrational taboos, like the taboos of man. Taboo spelled Taboos. But based on moral law, text and notes, chapter 6, Science 151 to 165. And this can be found on pages 389 to 395. Uh, we go now to Surah 7 or chapter 7, Surah to Rav, or the Heights. Introduction and summary. You can find this on page 396. Then below that we have Revelation should ease difficulties of heart and mind. Revelation should ease difficulties of heart and mind. Colon. Arrogance and excess are the root of evil. Arrogance and excess at the root of evil. Mhm. Text and notes, chapter 7, Science 1 to 31. You can find this on pages 397 to 405. Below it, we have God has forbidden evil. God has forbidden evil. Semicolon. All good is for man's enjoyment. Colon. Righteous to live in peace. The righteous will live in peace and fulfillment of all hope. That's for the righteous. The righteous never know peace. Though they will be seen to have peace, no, it's not real peace. It's fake peace. Mm. Okay, text and notes. Chapter 7, Science 32 to 58, pages 405 to 415. We go to the next page, and we continue with chapter 7. So that will Araf continued. Then Noah, Hud, Salih, Lot, and Shuaib, how their wholesome warning was rejected to the detriment of the rejectors. Mm. So these personalities, these messengers all came to warn mankind. Mankind with the ear, hard ear, never heard. For Noah, the flood came and took all the castrant people. Hud, the same. Hud, it was wind. Mm. Wind that came. Saleh, earthquake. Lut, brimstone. And Shuaib, also earthquake. Mm. The people they came to warn, they didn't hear. And okay, they didn't hear us because they heard they didn't make use of it, so they didn't hear. Mm. The people they came to warn, they didn't hear. Uh, and it was to their detriment. Text and notes. Text and notes comes twice. One is chapter 7, 59 to 87. And this can be found on pages 416 to 425. The second one comes on uh, chapter 7, 88 to 89. So they are divided in two. And that can be found from 426 to 430. So in brief, we can say combine the two together and say they can be found on pages 416 up to 430. We go to, and under it, just by it, we have part 9. Well, I don't know whether part 9 is from ends there or it begins with Moses. The following, after that, after part 9, we have Moses to fight alien arrogance as well as rebellion among his own people, like the final messenger whom he prefigured. Mm. Muhammad had to fight against the Quraysh, who are his own people, and even his uncles, particularly Abu Lahab, had to fight against him, then his own people. So this message to all mankind: you have to fight. You have to fight without and also within, in whatever you do. Good message, isn't it? So let's take note. Whoever you are, you have to fight. You have to fight people outside. You have to fight people within you. Mm. Text and notes, chapter 7, signs 100 to 157. And this can be found on pages 430 to 451. We move further. We get the prophet's revelation superseded the older law. The prophet's revelation superseded the older law. Uh, yes, text and notes, chapter 7, signs 158 to 171. Mhm. You can find this on pages 451 to 456. Mhm. Then under it, we have the inborn good in man is strengthened by constant reminders from God. Yes, no matter how good you are, you have to heed to reminders from God. God has to remind you all of the time. Otherwise, you will backslide. Mm. Uh, uh, that's column after that. Reminders from God's column. If sin has respite, it's only for a time. If sin can strive, it will only strive for a short time before the sinner is eliminated. Mm. Semicolon. Judgment must come. So draw near to God in humility and reverence. Okay, we go to text and notes to that, chapter 7, signs 172 to 205. And this can be found on pages 456 to 466. We go to Surah 8, which is Anfal, Spoils of War, Surah 8. Introduction and summary. Introduction and summary can be found on pages 467 to 468. Then down it we have the fight is not for spoils or gain, but for cause. In other words, the Muhammad and his people didn't fight because they wanted to loot. No, they fought because the rejectors of faith fought him. That's all. And so he fought in the cause of God. Text and notes, chapter 8, signs 1 to 19. You can find this on pages 469 to 474. We have below it, obey God's call and hold all else as not, as nothing. Mm. Okay, colon. The godless will not thrive. The godless will not thrive. Text and notes, chapter 8, verses 20 to 37, or signs 20 to 37. You can find this on pages 474 to 480. We go down, we get the Battle of Badr differentiated truth from unbelief. The Battle of Badr differentiated truth from unbelief. Colon. Its lessons. Then we have brackets. Text and notes, chapter 8, Science 38 to 40. And then text, and you can find this on page 480. Then we have text and notes, chapter 8, Science 41 to 64. You'll find 480 to 488. We combine them, we get pages 480 to 488, text and notes, divided into two here. And that is part 10. I don't know whether that is the end of part 10 or part 10 begins with what we are going to read below. And what we're going to read below is the true man is not cowed down by odds against him. The true man is not cowed down. Is not made to fear by truth against him. He fights not for spoils, but for truth and faith. Mm. Text and notes, chapter 8, Psalm 65 to 75. And this can be found on pages 488 to 493. Okay, let's continue. Mm. We go to chapter 9, the Taurat or Bara'at, immunity. Bara'at, immunity. Conquer people, you can give them immunity if only they will obey your conditions. So, Tawbah, did I say that out? No good, Bacho. So, chapter 9, Tawbah or Bara'at. Bara'at, Tawbah, not Tawrat. Good, Tawbah. Mm. Introduction and summary can be found on pages 494 to 495. Under it, we have if the enemy treacherously breaks faith, denounce his treaty, but give time before declaration of war. If the enemy treacherously breaks faith, denounce his treaty, but give time before declaration of war. Most are for men of faith. Text and notes, chapter 9, Science 1 to 29. This can be found on pages 496 to 450. 496 to 496 to 507. Pardon me. This can be found on pages 496 to 507. Under it we have enemies of faith cannot put what God's enemies of faith cannot put out God's light. Health is for good use. Wealth, not health. Pardon me. My knees are down for you. Wealth is for good use, not for hoarding. Strive and struggle for God in street fights. Text and notes, chapter 9, Science 30 to 42. I love that. Wealth is for good use, not for hoarding. You have something, instead of using it, and then instead of using it, you hoard it at home. Either you need it or people need it. You know they need it. You know you have no use for it, then you hoard. No good bad show. Text and notes, chapter 9, Science 30 to 42. You can find this on pages 507 to 514. Then below it, we have believers do their duty and make no excuses. Alms are for poor and needy and not for hypocrites. I love that. Bliss of righteous is in the good pleasure of God. So, alms are for poor and needy and not for hypocrites. In our cities, in some of our cities, you see people coming to beg, but they are not really needy. Some own houses. They are begged until they beat houses, but they make it a profession to beg, continue begging till they die. These are hypocrites, and they are not hungry. You see the food they eat. Some of the donors don't eat that kind of food. All right. Righteous is in the good pleasure of God. Text and notes, Science, chapter 9, Science 43 to 72. You can find this on pages 415 to 415. Sorry, you can find this on pages 514. You can find this on pages 514 to 523. Under it, we have hardest striving needed against evil, colon, welcome all chance of service and sacrifice. Mm. Then we have inverted commas. We have comments there and there. Text and notes. Uh, 73 to 95. Then we have text and notes. 9, 94, no, text and notes 73 to 93. Then we have text and notes 94 to 99. Putting the two together, we have pages 523 to 531. The first one ends at 30, the second one ends at 31. Mm. So we down it, we have the vanguard of faith expect their reward in God's good pleasure. Semicolon. God's grace is free and abundant, even the abundant colon. Even the erring obtain it by repentance. Text and notes. Chapter 9, Science 100 to 118. This can be found on pages 532 to 539. Under it, we have truth in word and deed is our fullest satisfaction and reward. Semicolon. Our striving should include study and teaching. For our brethren, let me take it again. Our striving should include study and teaching, for our brethren. Text and notes, chapter 9, Science 119 to 129. This can be found on pages 540 to 543. And that ends Surah 9. When we come back in our next video, we shall continue with Surah 10, which is the Surah on Yunus. Yunus means, what is the name in English? Jonah. Jonah, pardon me. So Yunus means Jonah, the one swallowed by the fish. That's where we'll go to next time to continue in continuation of what the contents have in the Quran. Thank you very much. Bye bye. May God be with you all.